Hello. I am putting in my question of the day as I always start out with. Pin it. Okay. Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, no matter where you are in the world. So happy to see you. Today, today was a great day for me. I had a coaching client this afternoon, and she was super excited about um, about starting her business. So I get really excited with talking to people who are really in the beginning stages of starting their freelance writing business. And this person, she's also really interested in, well, she's in the process of making her plans to be able to move to another country. So there's a lot of change in her life going on. And so I'm just really excited to be a part of, of that change. Um, But while we were in our conversation today, a few things came up about mindsets that I often see as very common. I saw it in myself. I recognized this failing mindset in myself when I was starting my own business. And I also see it in other people that I tend to work with. So I wanted to take a few minutes to be able to make a video to talk about um, what these three common failing mindsets are, and how you can sort of switch those mindsets around um, to be able to help you to move you forward in the direction that you want to go. And the reason why this is so important is because mindset is everything. When you're starting a business by yourself, I mean, if you can't look in the mirror and encourage yourself to move forward and to be able to get yourself around the right people to be able to build your business is not going to happen for you. It just isn't. So you really have to get serious about recognizing what your mindset looks like. Self awareness is super important. Get self aware about what your mindset, particularly, is looking like and what you're thinking about and what it is that you believe that you can achieve. And that stuff, let me switch this light around a little bit so it's not glaring in my eyes too much. But yeah, your mindset is super important. So I want to talk a little bit about what some of those failing mindsets are. But first, if you're new to me, my name is Halana Black. I'm a freelance writer, content marketer, mostly working in the tech space. I've been in this space since 2018. For the last 5 years, I have been traveling. I've lived in 7 different countries while running my freelance writing business. At the current time, I am living in Kigali, Rwanda. I'm here for my last few weeks, although I've been here for a couple of years since like the middle-ish of the pandemic. But I'm also a freelance writing coach. I help people start their own freelance writing businesses so that they can experience more freedom and travel around the world with their writing business. And I love what I do. So, three failing mindsets that will kill your freelance writing businesses. Number one, I don't have enough education. I don't have enough education. And this can go for really anything in the world, especially in these days. In the 8 years that I have run my freelance writing business, not a single person has ever asked me about where you went to school. They don't care that I graduated from anything. There's never been a conversation about, what school did you go to, when did you graduate, how many years did it take you to graduate, all those little silly things that you hear about when you are in school. At least for myself, I did go to school. I actually have a master's degree. No one even cares. I recently had a conversation on LinkedIn with someone about the fact of where I went to school. I did my grad school in Massachusetts. And the only reason why she asked was because the company that she was working in is located in Massachusetts. And, she was familiar with the area that I was living in. And so it was just a point of conversation, not necessarily, oh, you graduated, so you must be special. That's not a thing that happens when you are a business owner. It just doesn't. I'll give you another example of how true this is. Before I became a freelance writer, I worked in adult education. I used to work in a space where I was teaching adults, basic skills. I started out with teaching GED, how to read, learning basic job skills. And in one of my jobs, I worked with people who were coming out of prison and they were looking for jobs. I don't know why we want to send people who are coming out of prison into jobs and not doing something to help them to go find a business, but that's neither here nor there. So I had a group of mostly men who were looking for jobs, and there was one young man. When he was in prison, one of the jobs that he had to do was working in like dog kennels. He had a thing, he would go in and like clean up the dog kennels and take care of wash the dogs and stuff. And he actually really liked that work. So when he got out, he had tried working at different jobs and it just wasn't working with his personality and things like that. And then he kind of just started dog walking. He started dog walking and he inquired with myself and a few other people about starting a business with dog walking. And something in him clicked. He really loved dog walking. There's no requirements for anybody to be a dog walker. I personally don't have a dog, but I know people who have dogs and how much they love them. The only thing they want to know is that when they pass their pets off to somebody, is that they're passing them off to someone who's going to love and take care of them and not just, set them free with nothing, right? So that was a skill that he had. That was a skill that he demonstrated when he was working with his dogs. Um, so he didn't have any formal education. Um, he may have graduated from high school. I don't really. He may not have even had that. He just had a genuine care and concern for dogs, and he wanted to be able to continue to work with that. And so he started a job with that. Fast forward in a few months, he started to collect morning clients, afternoon clients, even evening clients. I would say within about a year, this man had making close to six figures walking dogs in his business, walking dogs. Now, here I am with all of my extra special education and, specializations and certifications and teaching adults and all this other stuff. Maybe I was making $35,000 a year, maybe. And here this man is out of prison, walking dogs, making close to six figures a year. Who's the success here? And the same mindset goes for people who are starting their freelance writing business. You don't need to have a full-on degree to have a successful freelance writing business. You really don't. Now, companies often do require is that you need to have some sort of expertise, some sort of a specialty, some sort of knowledge of the thing that you are writing about. So if you are a health and wellness writer, perhaps you have some experience in the health and wellness space. Maybe not necessarily as a doctor, but maybe you were a nurse. Maybe you are just really excited about health and wellness and you participate in detox programs and all different, maybe you're into herbs personally. It could be professional experience, it could be hobby experience. What I want you to take from this is that if you lean into your gifts and your skills, that's usually enough to be able to start on. You don't have to think, well, I don't have enough education to be a freelance writer, so I'm not going to bother. That's something you're killing your business before you even got started. So figure out what your gifts and your skills are and find ways to be able to get paid to be right about the things that you already know. So number two failing mindset that will kill your freelance writing business is that everyone else can be a success, but I can't because ... fill in the blank. I have a relative who is sort of famous for being, I would call a Debbie Downer, um, for saying that I had gone to an event with this person, and he was talking about some of his success that he had experienced with starting businesses, and now he had gotten to a point where he was starting his own business, and he was offering some like mindset coaching to other people who wanted to start a business. And so this relative turns and looks to me and he says, "Oh, he can do that because he must be some, some sort of a genius. He grew up, must have been a genius." And I just sort of looked at him, sideways because it was just weird. Like, why do you think that in order for this person to have any sort of business success, that he would have to be having, whatever a high IQ is? I don't even know what that means, and I'm an educator. I don't really know what that means to have a high IQ. Why is it that you would think that this other person has to be some kind of a genius? And it doesn't make sense for him to be able to say that because I'm also going to this particular event to get some sort of advice, business advice from this person to help me to move forward in my life. And I'm not a genius. I'm not a genius. So if you're saying that this person must be a genius in order to be a success, and I'm not a genius, then that must mean that I can't be a success either. And um, that's not a very encouraging statement. So you really have to pay attention to who it is that you're hanging out with when you're in a state of building your business. Like literally, you have to cut some people off or limit your conversation with talking to certain people. Um, you really have to have belief in the possibility of your own success. If you don't believe in it, it will not happen. You have to believe this with every ounce of your being. If you don't do it, if you don't sit down and work on that mindset for yourself, your business, your freelance writing business, or whatever it is that you want to create, it's never going to happen. Number three, the third failing mindset that will kill your freelance writing business before you even get started is that this is too hard. This is too hard. Instead of saying that this is too hard, why not try thinking, oh, this is something that I can learn? This is something that I can learn. When you say that this is something that I can learn, um, you're sort of opening pathways in your mind to be able to accept that you can actually learn something. That just because right now it may look foggy, it may look difficult, but just saying, passing something off, oh, it's too hard for me to do this, means that you never even bother to try. Everything is learnable, especially nowadays, because everything is on the internet and it's available for free. I don't care how broke you are. The only reason why I have a business today is because I spent my last literal $30 on some ebooks. There's a woman by the name of Yawanda Black. May she rest in peace. She was a mentor, one of my first mentors that I had. Um, a sister who had started a freelance writing business, and she at the time she was doing a content marketing business, and she would move back and forth between living in Atlanta and living in Jamaica. And this was before the whole digital nomad movement. Like she was doing digital nomad stuff before that was even a term. And when I saw her example of this business that she was growing, and she was teaching people how to be able to have their own business and telling them that you can travel, I was like, really? Like, this is possible? Because this was the thing that I had always wanted to do, but I never really saw an example of it. So I wasn't really sure whether or not I can do it. And the people that I was talking to was like, oh, girl, just get a job. Just get a job and quit with all of this fantasizing about wanting to go travel the world and all that other stuff. But she had offered, it was a package of like 3 ebooks. I don't even remember what the topics were, but they were related to starting a freelance writing business. And I could barely afford $30 to be able to get, I was so broke. but and this was the sale price. And so I remember I was out at my job. I barely had enough money to get home from the job because I was working in New York City and living in New Jersey, and it was like, no lie, a 3.5 hour commute between where I was working in New York City to get to New Jersey. And I spent like my last $30 to be able to get this little ebook package because I was so dedicated to trying to figure out how to be able to get this done. And so, because I had that open mindset, even though I was broke as hell, sleeping in my sister's house, couldn't even get my own apartment at the time. Um, I decided that my dream was worth the $30 investment, even though literally I didn't have it. You know, if I had stayed with that mindset that I don't have it, or that this was too hard for me to do, I would be doing something else. I would be doing something else entirely. Um, and I wouldn't be as happy. And now here I am. I have my own business. I've been traveling for the last 5 years. And we can all thank Miss Yolanda Black. May she rest in peace. She passed away, and I believe in Antigua about a year ago. And so I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I came across her on the internet. And then even our names are quite similar, which is so funny. But yeah, everything is learnable. Everything is on the internet. There's Udemy, there's LinkedIn Learning, and then there's YouTube. YouTube is free. I can't tell you how many things I've learned on YouTube related to writing. I learned, watercolor painting to help me with my stress. And now I'm like sitting here, creating book covers for my own books, um, using my own watercolor designs. Like it's everything is available on the internet. You can get free books on the internet. You can get audio books on YouTube. Some of the books, like a lot of the spiritual books that I've read via audio books that are available on YouTube. You can read, you can buy ebooks. There's so many people who are teachers on the internet. It's like, my point is, there's no excuse for just saying that something is too hard. If you're really interested, you can find a way. There's Audible, all sorts of ways to be able to get free information so that you can move forward. Yeah, so I forgot the question of the day. What failing mindset do you need to get rid of? If you can write that in the comments, that would be great. What failing mindset do you need to get rid of? That's really important to be aware of your failing mindsets, because if you are getting up trying to operate your freelance writing business or any business, anything that you want to do, if you are waking up in the morning and operating from a space of failure, you will experience nothing but failure. That's the absolute truth. So, what failing mindset do you need to get rid of? So, that's all I have today. Thank you so much. If you are in need of consulting, if you want to speak to a professional freelance writer and need some help on trying to establish yourself as a freelance writer in the content marketing space, or just developing your career in general, I am available. I do one-on-one consultations. You can click on the link in the description. What else? Or you can just go to helandablack.com and click on freelance writer coaching. That's all I have for you today. Peace.